Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes. We are with Dark Phantom, our level 40 Stalker, soloing the Stalker. We're on the story arc. Are we on a story arc, or we're just doing missions for Maxwell Christopher? Guess we're not on the story arc. We're just doing missions for Maxwell Christopher. And we need to get the Doomsday device. Did we already do his story arc? Maybe we should try somebody else, because it looks like we already did his story arc. Hang on, let me see here. What did we last do? The Rites of the Dark. That was the Path of the Dark. No, because we were doing Nemesis for Maxwell Christopher. So, yeah. Okay, sorry guys. I just played this yesterday, but I don't know. I kind of forgot where we were because last time what we were doing was focusing on looking at ×1, ×2, ×3 missions and comparing how they play. We saw that. We're now back to +2 ×1, which is my preferred way, and you saw last time kind of why that is. And so now we're going to head to Perez Park. And as we go, what I want to do, because I saw a video about this the other day, which will probably be a month ago for you guys, talking about like what makes City of Heroes a fun game to solo. Why do people who solo games like to why do people who play City of Heroes solo it? Like, why solo an MMO? What makes it fun to solo? Because so many of us actually do enjoy soloing City of Heroes. Um, and it was, on the original design, they did say we're going to make it so that you can solo it. Although, of course, they definitely wanted to encourage grouping in hazard zones like Paris Park, where they had required missions that you had to do. Back then, you couldn't skip missions. Those were very frustrating to people who wanted to solo because you couldn't really easily do Paris Park solo on level, right? You get a mission at level 6 and go to Paris Park fighting spawns of 16 guys. It's really hard, especially as a new player, to do that. Okay, so we're on +2s here, and we're going to, do a little checking to make sure we see where the snipers are, because +2 snipers can be super dangerous, and as you saw last time, even +1s can be super dangerous if you end up fighting a bunch of minions in a large spawn, and then the snipers start taking you out from afar. So these guys are only +2, so they shouldn't be a huge problem. Anyway, back to soloing. So I'm going to sort of, similar to what this other person did, just talk about it. I'm not going to do a top 10, but we'll talk about some reasons why City of Heroes is fun to solo. And one thing that this person mentioned, which I agree, is that it's a large inhabited world. It's a lot bigger than a single player game's world would generally be. I mean, you might get a few that are like, let's see, is there a Turalor? Yeah, see, they usually end up here, and we want to take them out so he can't shoot me from there to here. He would probably be shooting me if I started fighting this guy over there, so we'll take him out first. So yeah, you're not gonna. There might be some worlds that are really big, like Skyrim. Do have large worlds in them, and they can be really fun. But the world doesn't feel as inhabited because there aren't any other players in it. Even if you're just soloing, and you're not doing missions with other players, you're still going to, as you guys have noticed probably with my videos, you're going to still see the other players around the area, and you're still going to hear them chatting in the global or in the help channel or something like that. You'll see that. And so the world feels more alive than a solo game world because there are other people in it. You're interacting with them indirectly through things like the auction house. You can ask questions. There's a forum, there's a Discord, and it's not just people who play the same game together, right? Like if you're in a Discord about Skyrim or Knights of the Old Republic, it's people who can go in game and play it together if they want. If you say to somebody, "Oh, I'm having trouble, I can't find such and such salvage," and the person on the Discord hears that, they can say, "Hey, get in game, I'll give you one." Right? Okay, I'm gonna leave that guy alone. Let me explain why. This guy, if they're walking up here, when he gets defeated, he will boost them and then they become harder to hit, and it's a pain in the neck. So we're going to take out the other guys first. Lieutenants go last. These lieutenants, because they do the buffing. Okay, let's placate, actually, and assassinate. Because why not? I was not doing that enough yesterday, previous episode, when I was getting pretty much trounced by the large groups of yellow and orange mobs. I probably should have done better. Should definitely have done a lot more placating. But what happens is once I get into the sort of scrapper lock business of just punching things, I tend to not think to do that. Unless it's like a single enemy like that, where I might want to try an assassination on him. And there's another nemesis. Those guys are definitely tough. So when they're purple, I know enough to watch out. There's also a room down here. Let's see. See, I didn't do enough of this with the larger spawns because they were low level. And my brain is just used to its low level. I don't have to scout. But with larger numbers of spawns, you kind of do. So we need to find the Doomsday device. We got this annoying room here, which I don't know if we have to take out or not. But we need to find the Doomsday device, which I haven't noticed yet. Did I see something glowing? I thought I saw a glowy over here. But I guess not. I don't hear anything. Alright, so we know that this room is here. I'll mark it. We could possibly have to come back here, but I don't hear any glowies, and I don't think this is going to be a required part of the mission. So let's go to the main room, and we'll deal with that. And I don't think there were any snipers down here or up. I don't think I saw any up here. Are there any in this room? I do like being able to scout. That's a regular lieutenant. He's going to be a pain. There's the glowy. So what we might want to do here, if we think about this tactically, which is something I'm going to do against +2 bosses, right? Tactically, we do not want this guy to buff this guy, because he's already going to be impossible to hit when he decides to shield up. So what we're going to want to do is pull this guy out of the room. And so that means we're going to start with these guys, and then when we're done with them, we're going to try to do a pull on that guy. Again, I don't normally pull with stalkers, but if I go into the room and I fight him, I could end up close enough to this guy that I aggro him. I shouldn't do it if I pull. Let's start with this surgeon, and we're going to just take him out. Alright, I'll just punch him. I don't care. Again, one of the things with when you have we'll get back to why COH is fun to solo, but one of the things when you have these larger spawns that, you know, again, I'm not used to tactically dealing with them because I almost never do solo, right? I mean, I might deal with them in a group, but solo, I hardly ever have to tactically deal with large groups. You know, 2 spawns that aggro are different from a large spawn of like 14 guys, and you've got like 3 or 4 surgeons in it that are all healing everybody, and I just wasn't tactically used to having to even think about that. Anyway, so back to why players like City of Heroes. You know, obviously one reason is it is a large world. It's bigger than most other games are going to have in their game world, and just in terms of the zones and how much content there is in each zone and that sort of thing. And it also feels more alive because there are other players not just discussing the solo game you guys are all playing, but they're actually in the game with you, even if you're not running a mission with them. There's also tons and tons of content in City of Heroes, far more than you'd get in a single player game. Just look at the total number of hours of episodes that we have here. Oh, that's right, I got to pull. If you think about it, right, most single player games, if they have a pretty good amount of content, you have 50, 60 hours, maybe 70 hours of gameplay available. And City of Heroes has hundreds of hours, right? I mean, I'm not even level 50 yet, and I can't imagine how many hours I've played. I wish they had a little meter that told you, like you do on Steam, but it's a lot. And the reason it's a lot is because it's an MMO and it was designed for monthly subscriptions, and they want to keep you playing and paying. And so there are tons and tons of content So I'm just glancing at my notes. There's hundreds of hours. Look how many hours a single playthrough is for me. That's just the hero side. Then there's the villain side. Then there's Pretoria, which is half as much. And so you've got so much content that um, you can really play it pretty much forever. Let's grab the mission goal here, and then we'll worry about false nemesis. All right, so we are going to fight him, but let me glance at the next one. Um, Another thing that's really not possible in most video games, unless maybe they put out an expansion or something later after the game was successful. I'm going to do overload here. Do some extra damage. Focused accuracy. Should have put that on first. And now punch him. Okay. So, yeah, one of the things you can do in City of Heroes that you really almost never can do in other role-playing games that are solo is City of Heroes. Why am I not? Why didn't it let me assassinate? We want to keep ourselves healed here. Okay, I can't hit him, so let's take this guy out. I can't hit him either. Come on, 50%. I should be able to hit once in a while. You know, like half the time. So one thing that this game has that as an MMO that you wouldn't get in a single player game is that you get post level 50 content, right? You get post end game content or whatever you want to call it. You can level up past 50 with veteran levels, and you can do all kinds of stuff after you hit level 50 because it's a persistent world. So you can go and get badges and do stuff like that, which realistically in most single player games you're generally not going to do. So there's all of this content that you can do after you hit level 50. You can continue playing story arcs. You can go back and do Ouroboros flashbacks. I mean, most solo games you can't really do that. So it's really nice that you can continue to play your character. Silver Phoenix, for example, who's been level 50 for years, I can still go back and play her if I want, and I have occasionally, just to enjoy that character. Which, really, what are you going to do in a single player game? Pretty much all you can do is reload the save before the end of the game and play that part, or one of your other saves. There aren't many single player games. Skyrim probably allows this, I don't remember, but there aren't many single player games where after you finish the game you can just go back into the world and hang around and do more quests and stuff. Because the quests are one and done and then you're finished. So, we're going to Paragon Island. We haven't been there yet, so let's do that. We need to talk to the guy who gives the SOs. I guess we probably don't need to talk to him, but we should talk to the guy who gives the SOs out who sells them in Paragon Island. Used to be you had to do a quest for him. Nowadays, of course, to get more SOs, we could just do an upgrade. And the new slots are going to probably be filled by inventions. So anyway, there is lots of post level 50 content. For example, if you think about this character, let's say we don't do sets on her before level 50, then after level 50 I can just keep getting better sets and keep doing content to get drops to get better sets and that kind of thing. So that the game doesn't end when you get to max level, where most of the time in solo games it does. So there's the post-cap level progression, or whatever you want to call it, is really fun. Then there's also a huge variety of character types. There's a huge variety of archetypes. You can play 10 different regular archetypes, and then there are the epic ones like Chaldeans and stuff. So there are functionally about a dozen. And then within most of those dozen, you get different power sets that often play very, very differently. This is beyond anything that's just like a fighter, say a fighter Eldritch Knight versus a fighter champion. yes, those play very differently, but in City of Heroes, the power sets play even more differently, and um, it can be a lot of fun to try out different power sets in the same archetype. If you go back and watch my older Stalker videos with um, Tiger Shrike, who is a claws or regen Stalker, she plays very differently from this character, who is a uh, dark melee energy aura Stalker. And I also, in my Let's Rant, was doing a Psionics Willpower, I think, Stalker. Also plays very differently, although not super easy to tell because, in fairness, I only got that one to level like 20 or something. Okay, this is the guy who sells. Okay, we can already sell stuff to him and buy stuff from him. So he's got all of the level 40 and 45 enhancements, I think, single origin. So it'll only show 40 now because I can't use the 45, but when we get to 42, it'll show 45s, and when we get to 47, it'll show 50s. You used to have to do a quest for him, and you can still do the quest, but it's not required. So now we're going to head to Portal Corp. This is the level 40 to 50 zone. You can see it's actually with quite a few people because there are lots of level 50s on the server. And then if you're going to do missions, this is one of the zones you're going to come into, pretty much the main zone. There is Callisti Wharf now, but Callisti Wharf was not original to the game, and I don't think there are anywhere near as many missions and contacts and quest lines in there as there are here. I feel like this zone was actually a huge mistake. They made it too small. It's not that big. It's no bigger than Talos Island. And Talos Island is one of two zones that people are going to go to for level 20 to 30. And you're not going to have that many people in there because the level to 20, 30 range doesn't take that long to get through. This zone was level 40 plus, including 50. There are too many people in this zone. Why is that a problem? Because there are so many street hunts in this zone. Defeat carnies. There are only 3 or 4 spawn points, and you've got dozens and dozens of high-level players looking for them. Very frustrating. Before mission complete, it was an incredibly frustrating zone. Now that you can auto-complete them, you just auto-complete it. Okay, so you need to find 6 portal devices. I hate this map. There's always something hiding in a corner somewhere. We're not going to take out the whole map. We're just going to stalk it, because this is almost never a defeat all. So we'll just look for portal devices. Here's one. Do I need to fight these guys? Probably not. Yeah, they didn't notice me. I definitely want to come back here because there was something I couldn't find way behind the rocks at one point on this map for the Wheel of Destruction. So we want to look in the corners, definitely. Who's that over there? Oh, well, that's going to have to be a fight. All right, we're going to have to fight those guys. But let's click this first. I'm going to put a marker on this. I'll come back to them. But let's get our targets first, and then once we do that, we'll oh, who shot me? Oh, there's a sniper shooting me from somewhere. Hang on. Who's attacking me? Where's the sniper? Is that him? Oh boy. We hidden? Is he gonna attack me again? I might aggro those guys. He didn't get me in time. Alright, so we're going to have to take him out before fighting those guys. Don't know what's going to happen with that. Let's take these things out first, and then we'll come back and deal with these bosses and stuff. They're optional. Is this another boss? No, it's just a lieutenant. Yeah, the Tiralors have a really long range. Is he shooting? See, he's shooting at me again. They have really long range. So we're definitely going to need to make sure that we are away from. Make sure that we have taken him out before we start playing with bosses. There's another clicky. All right, these guys will have to be shot. or whatever, defeated. And oh, there's more. Oh, that's just a minion. I thought it was another boss. All right, so this guy, we're outside, so there's no walls to block these guys, so we have to take these guys out first. These aren't portals, though, so I don't know why they're glowies or why we're clicking on them. Because that doesn't count for anything. Now what? Where'd he come from? Who the heck is shooting me? Who? Where is he? Where's the guy who's shooting me? That guy. Okay. Yeah, so these maps are tough against Nemesis because if there's a sniper, they can hit you from a very long range, and while you're fighting him, you're going to aggro other people. So it does make a good challenge. That was a mistake. Excuse me. Should hit this guy. So it was a mistake for two reasons. One, you want to prioritize hitting. Sorry, I'm coughing. One, you want to prioritize hitting the surgeons first so they don't heal. But two, the bedrocks are hard to hit. You don't want to hit the guy with the high deflection with your siphon life because then you don't heal yourself. Look at this. 79% I can't hit. The number of misses when you're at 60 and 70% is just insane. I don't understand how it can happen that much. And it can't all be confirmation bias because it seems to happen quite often. Anyway, let's get back to why City of Heroes is fun to solo. We did the huge variety of archetypes. I feel like it's a much bigger variety than most RPGs. If you look at something like Knights of the Old Republic, there are 3 classes, right? A lot of RPGs, there are 4 or 5 to choose from, maybe, right? But City of Heroes, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. City of Heroes has a whole bunch. And then the power sets all play very differently, which adds to the variety. The other thing I always thought with these guys, when they get buffed like this guy is buffed from this guy's death, but didn't see me. Excuse me. They should go looking for why am I buffed? Somebody must have died, right? Another thing that this player said was that the superheroes in the game that you're playing actually feel powerful. So you feel like a superhero, which was a design goal of City of Heroes that they obviously succeeded at, because you do feel like a superhero. And I think one of the things that helps with that is their rule of 3 minions to 1 hero instead of 3 heroes to 1 enemy, which is the way most MMOs at the time were calibrated. Man. So, but look at this, like, we took out all these guys. Just by ourselves, which is pretty cool. So you definitely feel like a superhero, which is awesome. Um, the next thing he talked about was the difficulty setting. He just said that you can do it, but what I would argue is one of the things I like about the difficulty setting, and you saw it in the last few episodes as I was alternating between like +1, +2, +0, ×1, ×2, ×3, right? One of the things that you can do in City of Heroes is fine tune the difficulty, right? It's not the case that you can only go, most games, they have easy, medium, hard, right? And how the game gets hard is designed arbitrarily by the game designers, right? Whereas in City of Heroes, it doesn't go easy, medium, hard. It goes +0, +1, +2. Is there? These guys are so annoying. Stop it. It doesn't just go +1, +2, +0. You can decide, do I want to fight a lot of enemies? Do I want to fight a few? Do I want to fight higher level? A lot of high-level enemies, a lot of low-level enemies, a few high-level enemies, a few low-level enemies. Do I want to have bosses? Do I want to not? Do I want to have arch-villains? Do I not? It's really very, like, shall we say, fine-grained. And you have a lot of difficulty options instead of only having 1 or 2 or 3, right? Which is really helpful to you as a player because you can perfectly tune your experience to whatever is comfortable for you. For instance, for me, what I like are these +2 and +3 guys, and oh, I was hoping we'd get a little asterisk from the last glowy, but we did not. So I don't know where it is now. This is going to be impossible to find, I'm sure, because they love doing that in these outdoor missions, making them really hard to find. And of course, it's dark. Which my character might like since she's a dark character, but I don't like trying to find these things. This may be one of these where I'm going to have to pause it and look around. It may also be one where I'm going to have to autocomplete. I'll tell you one setting I would like in the game is to tell it whether you want outdoor missions or not, and I would just turn them off. Right, and this mission originally, oh, here it is. This mission originally did not have any Tyrellors around here. We got this guy. This mission was not an outdoor mission, right? Nemesis is an original enemy. I'm fairly sure this is original mission to the live game, at least the patch where level 40 to 50 content came out. This mission would have been indoors originally and was changed to an outdoor mission. That means there is in the database an original map. I would just want to see that original map and play on the original map. Okay, so now we are hidden. We're going to go to this waypoint here. Where is that double boss thing? These guys. This is going to be a heck of a fight, guys. I don't have any extra heals. This might be super hard. We're going to aggro all these guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to not aggro them to assassinate him. Nope, I aggroed everybody. Overload. Too late. Oh well. Yeah, if the did it go into overload? It did. That's unfortunate. So I'm going to have the crash. So I will pause it and bring you guys back. What I was going to say was if I had been able to assassinate him without having to trigger all the bosses, or if there hadn't been a Tyrellor there, a sniper there, I probably would have been okay. But unfortunately, the sniper would have just roasted me while I was fighting because they're super accurate. So overload wouldn't have stopped him. He would have just roasted me while I was fighting the two bosses. And like I could fight the two bosses alone. It probably wouldn't have been a problem because when Nemesis goes unhittable, you just hit the other boss. I probably would have just taken the other boss out first. But unfortunately, in the unfortunately when you're having uh, the sniper there, you have to take that sniper out, or he will just pummel you and pummel you and pummel you with AoEs that are very accurate while you're fighting two bosses. It's almost unwinnable. That's another one where if the mission had been indoors, the way it was originally designed, he might not have been able to see me. I don't know if he would have been in the same room as the boss, right? The bosses might have been, in this room, and maybe the sniper was over here in this room, and I wouldn't have had line of sight, right? He wouldn't have had line of sight on me. All right. Before we go, I do want to say we're over the line in salvage. We have too much salvage. We do have some orange that I can get rid of, but we have way too much salvage. So what I want to do is craft some stuff, right? My way, because all these salvage racks are mostly full, my way of dealing with that is to do some crafting. So let's think about what are we going to need in the future. We still need, everything is done on this side. Excellent. So we're level 41 is going to get us a new power, and that'll be the eyesight. So we're going to need an accuracy. We probably have plenty of those. We need some defense buffs, recharge, and of course endurance modification, and some heals. Let's see what we've got. So we can do heals. Let's hide unknown recipes and recipes missing ingredients. Let's see what we got. So we can do a heal. Let's create that. We can do an accuracy. Let's create that. We do need another recharge reduction, right? This is too high a level, but that's okay. We don't need range. I don't think we need endurance reduction. Now, the other thing we have up here is Touch of the Nictus. This is something that could work on our Siphon Life, right? Because Touch of the Nictus is the accurate healing. So that's a possible one we could use. Celerity, that's run speed, we don't need that. Gladiator's Javelin, range damage, we don't. Well, that could go on our... it's a PvP one. Oh, we're going to sell that one. And whenever I see something that has stuff that works in PvP, I sell them because they're super valuable and I don't need that. These guys also work in PvP. Power transfer. This is endurance modification. It's a nice set. Now, that one I would never put on here, but if we 6-slotted energy drain, that one might be worth it. Are there 6 slots to it? There are. This improves recharge time and accuracy, as well as increasing maximum health, maximum endurance, and regeneration rate. This is actually possibly nice, and this makes me think that it might be worth slotting energy drain. We're not going to have enough slots to 6-slot everything. We do want to finish Energy Punch. We're probably going to leave Placate the way it is, because so far I've had it up enough. We might leave Focused Accuracy the way it is. Maybe we should get the energy drain. Maybe we should get this at some point. Serendipity is a defense set. Just needs Ancient Bone. Resistance, defense, a little bit of accuracy. I don't feel like that's very good. I feel like we can get rid of that. We have better stuff. So Touch of the Nictus I have interest in. We're going to keep that. We're going to auction house these two guys. I don't know about this power transfer. I don't know if I want to make it yet. I mean, that's going to take an orange. We probably have Essence of the Furies. Let's take a look. Whoops. Put my jump power on. We probably have Essence of the Furies. Did Overload? I guess Overload already happened while I was looking at stuff. We don't. So we don't even have that. So I guess I don't have to worry about whether I make it. I will keep it. But I don't have to worry about making it. So let's go in here. Grab that, and we will pop these guys in. And our healing, we can just go ahead and swap this out. Right, we don't need it anywhere else. So, whoops, why didn't this go? Delete. So now we just have 1 SO in here, 2 in here, a couple in here. Most of our SOs are gone. which is nice. And let's head out to... I was going to pause it, but I guess we can just keep going. Let's head out to the auction house. Unfortunately, you can't get the auction house in here. I wish you could. Let's head out. We'll talk to our contact. I don't think we can get back into the mission, right? Because it completed. Did it not? Or do we have to go back in? No, we completed it, so we can't... Unfortunately, we can't go back in. So one of the negatives of getting all the goals and then fighting a boss is if you get defeated, you can't go back in. So that is something to keep in mind. The Eternal Nemesis. Okay, we're on a story arc for him now. Meanwhile, let's go to the auction house and see if... Oops, no, wrong thing. Recipes. These guys that are for PvP, are they worth anything? You see? Totally worth selling, in my opinion, right? What does it do? Well, not in PvP, it'll improve my recovery. It'll increase my maximum health. It'll increase damage a little bit. It'll give me knockback protection, don't need it. It does improve accuracy of all the powers, but there are lots of other sets that improve the accuracy of all the powers and aren't worth this much money. So we're going to put this, it sells for 5 million. I'm just going to put it up for like 2 million. Right? Costs 100,000 to post it, but we should get it sold right away. And we sold it for 5 million influence. Beautiful. And then we're going to throw this in. And we're going to post that for 2 million because it sells for 4. And we got 9 million influence today, just like that, guys. And we can see if Serendipity is probably not worth anything. Oh, it's worth something. Let's sell that for 200,000 because it's worth 400. And we got that too. Looking good. And then power transfer we're going to keep. This run speed probably isn't worth anything. Nah. So we can just sell that to a vendor. And we're looking good, guys. This is pretty good. So we made some new enhancements and got ourselves defeated again. And now we need to go to Brickstown. And this will be our final mission. Let's just auto... we got... Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, that was stupid. Those are level 49s, and I did not have my hide on. I forgot that I did not put these things on. Okay, yeah, I almost died right there. Okay, so we're going to select the mission, and then we'll just teleport to Brickstown. Oop. Oh, and now that I'm in the 40s, I need to go into Eden and get the badges for that, too. Which is another one of the hazard zones. And at some point I need to go into the new version of Dark Astoria and grab those. Eventually I want to have the badges for every zone. Oh, also, I got a bunch of... I don't know if I did this. At some point I was doing a story arc and I got a bunch of merits. I feel like I didn't mention it to you guys, but we have 827, so we're getting very close. We only have about 380 merits to go. It's maybe 6 more story arcs, which should be done by level 43 or so. We will be able to start putting sets on our powers. At that point, we will use the heal that we were given by one of my audience members, whose name escapes me now, Winterheart or something in game, and we will also put on the ATOs, and then we'll have our first 3 sets, and then we'll see what else we're going to put on. I feel like I've shown enough how this character solos. It will not solo at 47 or 48 any differently from how it's soloing now. Once you're in the 40s, you're like, all of our main powers are in. I don't know if I'm going to get Touch of Fear. I might. I probably won't be able to slot it. I mean, we have so much else to do with our slots and our powers. So I don't know that I'm going to get Touch of Fear. It's a single target, so it's not going to be super useful. My experience with Fear on the Brute was that it was very unreliable as mob control, as crowd control. That sometimes it worked, but a lot of times it didn't. And as a consequence, and I feel like I got the same result from my Dominator. I feel like Fear is just underwhelming, at least as a PC in this game. Doing Fear to enemies. Now maybe if you're a controller and you really enhance it, maybe. You know, part of my problem with powers is a lot of times I will try to... I wasn't hidden there. A lot of times I will try to see if a power is good before I enhance it, like this disorient, this disrupt. And then if it's, you know, it's not so good on enhanced, well, that's true of like Shadow Punch too. That wasn't that great on enhanced either, but I know from the damage attacks that I have to enhance them. I know that these things have to be enhanced too. That's another one I don't know if we're going to have enough slots for, right? I have never enhanced this, and we definitely want to enhance the accuracy and especially the duration. It doesn't... Wait a minute. It doesn't tell you how long. That's really weird. I was going to say, oh, it's 10-second duration. We want to double it to 20 or something. I don't know how long it is. It should say. That's, I think, a bug. So one thing to think about, right? We're talking. I'll get back a little bit more to City of Heroes and why it's fun to solo. But one thing to think about: we're in an interior now. I don't have to worry as much about the snipers. One thing to think about in terms of mission design that I don't think the developers probably did the math on. It doesn't feel like they did. Those snipers are way more powerful on an outdoor map than on an indoor map. And I'm not sure that they bothered to recalibrate how hard to make the mission, whether it was indoor or outdoor, when they switched maps. They just put it on a new map because it's the cool new outdoor map. Right? Players like new maps. Yeah, but the number of snipers you have in this mission should be calibrated to that, because on a map like this, I only have to deal with one or maybe two snipers at a time. On an outdoor map, if 5 spawns have snipers in them all the way across the map, and there's a flat terrain between them and me, I'm going to be being hit by 5 snipers, which is going to make it a much harder mission than if it's indoors, right? I'm not saying you can't do it, but if you're doing balance, they should have paid attention to that, and I'm not at all sure that they did. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that they didn't. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about is not something that the other guy was talking about with things like difficulty setting and stuff that can be really a good reason for soloing City of Heroes, because it actually has more fine-tuning to the difficulty setting than a solo game and stuff like that. On top of that, there's something that I do, maybe other soloers don't, I don't know, that you almost never get in a solo game, and that is base building. Yes, a solo game might give you a house where you can store your character's junk. They do that in Skyrim, for instance. It's a good game. I love Skyrim. They do that in other games as well. You have, you can store your stuff, right? They do that in Divinity Original Sin. I think they definitely do it in Solasta. Great. You can store stuff. But look at all the functionality of a COH base and the ability to create and decorate awesome bases. You do not get that in most solo games. So when you think about like the depth of the experience in COH and how much you get much more easily fine-tuned difficulty settings. You get a much larger living world where you can choose to interact with other players in a variety of ways, not just running missions with them. You can just have a conversation with them at the tailor or something like that, which happened to me at one point, right? I was these guys. I was in the tailor. I don't remember which character it was. I think it was Liberty Lass. And I think I was in the tailor, and somebody came along and saw it and was like, "That is a really cool costume. I really like that." And then we just had a little conversation about it. Right? And So you can be a little social or a lot social. It's really up to you whether you want to be a little or a lot social, whether you want to interact with other players or just play totally by yourself. You have that choice. It's eminently soloable, as many of us have shown, including me. It's an eminently soloable game that you can also play with other people directly in game if you want, which is super fun. Even most MMOs don't have that. I mean, Guild Wars did. I remember you could hire NPCs to fill out your party if you didn't have enough players, which is really cool. And no other game had that at the time that I remember. So they said, we're going to scale everything for 4 players, but we'll give you NPCs to replace the players if the NPCs, if you can't find enough people to fill your group out. And City of Heroes just said, we'll just scale everything to how many players there are in your group from 1 to 8. And very few other MMOs do that, and obviously no single-player games let you fine-tune your experience the way City of Heroes does. So there's so many reasons that this game is what this person was arguing, and I say too, this game is not only more fun than the other MMOs, it's also giving me a more fun single-player experience than most single-player role-playing games. That's why City of Heroes is my favorite game. See if you agree and post your comments down below. Do you like soloing City of Heroes? Do you only like doing groups? Do you like pickup groups? Do you only like to play with your super group? Do you have your own base, right? And have you decorated it and stuff the way some people do? Have you done even more decorating than I have? Because mine's pretty utilitarian and not so much pretty. I started prettying it up, right? Let's just take a quick look and then we'll stop. But I started out prettying it up, and then I ran out of steam. So if you come to the base, you'll see a couple of the rooms are really decorated and the other rooms aren't. So this room, I never really did anything with it, right? It's just a teleport room, right? I was going to do stuff, rugs, I don't know, whatever, and I just never did. We can see in here, this is where I did the decorating, right? So this is completely cosmetic, the science lab. And I created this little containment area where you supposedly have little eggs pulsating. And I created this botany area with trees and stuff. And I've got some people monitoring it. Right now it's Kevin and Kimberly, but I think they rename every time you come into the base because they respawn. Over here we have, like, I don't know, some kind of vats with bacteria and monitoring. And we have, boxes of supplies. We've got a little monitor for this thing, and we've got some kind of goo, right? So we've got some sort of, in here, some kind of bacteria or something that we're growing. Then over here you have one of these hoods or whatever where you have to manipulate stuff in here and a monitor for that. And then we have our lab bench with microscopes and microscope slides and all the rest. So I put a lot of thought into this room and I decorated it. My plan was to do the whole base that way. Come into the hospital, we've got our triage center, we've got our surgery, right? We've got our emergency room, we've got our back to tanks or whatever, the thing where you teleport in. What do they call them? The reincarnator, and then our inspiration thing here. So this is all our medical, and I feel like these rooms are pretty well decorated. They're not perfect, but they're not bad. But then as you get into some of the other rooms, I just started running out of ideas. We've got our base like thing here, and we've got a little trophy room, and the monitor for monitoring villain activity. This one's okay, but I feel like it's pretty empty in the middle. And then when you get to control room and stuff, and what was supposed to be the library, right? I kind of did some work in here, and then I just got tired of all of it. And it's so big, and there are just only so many types of furniture that I just kind of stopped. So you can see like this half of the base where the floor turns black. This side, I actually did some pretty good decor. Again, this is just purely cosmetic engineering. I think that looks pretty good. And in here, of course, we have a lot of clutter because this is our storage area and our workshop. So this area looks lived in. That area over there looks lived in. But once you get east of this section, it just becomes like we moved in and never finished unloading the boxes. Um, yeah, all the banners and stuff that I wanted to put up, I did some of it and then I just never got around to it because it was just so long and it took a while. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's the way I did this base. But you can decorate bases any way you want. You can make them a lot smaller. There are people who just basically do a one giant room and put everything in that room. Years ago, you couldn't do that because you had to have control stuff in the control room and energy stuff in the power stuff in the power room and workshop stuff in the workshop room and stuff. But now you don't have to do that. So a lot of people just make one single room and then do a bunch of dividers and wall decorations and stuff like that and make it look really cool. So um, that's something you can do in COH that you really can't do in most games, and especially not single player. And that's why I love it so much. I hope you guys love it too, and leave comments about your favorite things about COH and what you love about it so much. And until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this is Souling the Stalker on City of Heroes.